All right, here are 7 epiphanies that transformed my life as an entrepreneur. And honestly, it wasn't until I figured these out that I started to make a lot more money, and doing so in a way that wasn't causing me quite so much brain damage. So hopefully you can learn from my mistakes, you can learn from my lessons and get the lessons without the scars. So let's get to it. Number 1, a system will never grow beyond its biggest constraint. And in almost all cases, the biggest constraint in your business, it's you. It's you. As the leader, the skills, the resources, the beliefs that you have that are limiting you is what's ultimately limiting the business, because the business is nothing more than the amalgamation of your totality of personality, your skills, your resources, right? And so if you want to grow your business, you have to systematically eliminate your own inadequacies. And you can do this in one of 2 ways. You can either hire to remove yourself and bring somebody in who is not inadequate in those ways. And so let's say you, in the beginning, you're doing the finance, the marketing, the operations, you're doing everything, right? And you're like, you know what? We are not growing because I suck at marketing. Well, you could go hire somebody to come in, take over the marketing who's really good at it. You've now alleviated the constraint, which was you as the marketer. Now you're going to grow. The problem is, in the beginning, you don't necessarily have the money to go and get that person who would be able to come in and do the thing for you, right? So instead, the second way that you remove yourself as the constraint is to level up your skills. You go and you become a better marketer, and you read books, you watch videos, you learn how to market better, so that no longer becomes the constraint. But just recognize that whether it's your skills or it's your ability to attract talent that has the skills which you need to grow, that is the constraint. Number 2, there are only 2 times to hire. And this is a very hard one it's very easy to hear it and you're going to go, okay, that makes sense. It's very hard to actually do it because I promise you will look at the numbers on the spreadsheet and you will overvalue them. But there's only 2 times to hire. You either hire too soon or you hire too late. The cost of hiring too soon is capital. It's cash out of the bank, right? The cost of hiring too late, though, it's opportunity cost. It's the cost of what could that person who I invested in to remove myself as the constraint in that system, what could they have done if I had brought them in and alleviated that constraint right now? You can't know that, right? So as a consequence, because it's very easy to forecast the cost of capital on a spreadsheet, and it's very difficult, if not impossible, to see clearly what is the cost of missed opportunity, we tend to devalue the cost of opportunity. We tend to overvalue the cost of capital. And so we look and we're like, I don't know, I got to spend $100K to bring that new person in. That's, $100,000 out of the bank. I could use it for this, that, and the other thing. But it's harder to quantify. Well, if I bring that guy in, is he going to make us another $1 million this year? That's $900,000 of missed value. My experience has dictated that it is almost always more expensive to wait to hire than it is to hire too soon, especially if you're hiring the right people and you have the right systems and processes in place to get them up to speed and allow them to run towards the goals. Every person you hire should be not just 1 + 1 = 2 in the algorithm of your business. It's 1 + 1 = 12. And when you start to look at it from that lens, yes, I know it's scary to bring in that $100,000 talent, especially when you're maybe only making $100,000 a year and you're like, we don't even have that much money. All we make is like $10,000 of profit every single month. Cool. That's $10,000 that you could pay that person and they can come in and they can turn that into $100K every single month. So that's the way that you have to start thinking about hiring. Number 3, the 2 languages of business is finance and people. It's that simple. You need to learn how to communicate with individuals and with groups of people. So the book Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini is very powerful in this way. Your ability to sell to other people, whether that's customers, it's vendors, or it's employees, to recruit them towards the vision that you have for the business, the ability to convey a message that moves a mass of people in relation to your business, your product, right? That's marketing at large, right? That's just psychology applied at scale. The ability to speak those languages is paramount. You will not grow as an entrepreneur if you cannot speak the language of people. You also will not grow if you cannot speak the language of finance. Or actually, here's what will happen, and I promise, I've lived this. If you cannot speak the language of finance, you will rely on somebody else to speak it for you. That is a translator. You are in a foreign land and you're relying on the translator. You have to have a whole lot of trust that translator isn't screwing you over. But maybe they're not a nefarious person. You have to have trust that they're competent and that they're capable and they're not messing up the message regardless. And so you need to be able to speak the language of the people. If you want to thrive in Nigeria, if you want to thrive in France, if you want to thrive in Russia, it's not enough to just simply speak your native language. You have to speak the language of the people there. And the language of business is people and it's finance. Number 5, if you can learn how to develop people, how to manage capital, how to produce content, and to distribute value at scale, then you are virtually unstoppable. Let me say that again. If you learn how to develop people, that is how to bring somebody in who's maybe they don't have a ton of skills, they don't have a ton of knowledge. And if you can take that person and make them be a net drag on the company to suddenly being a net positive, you could take anybody off the street. Once you have that ability, I could take anybody off the street and I can make them more valuable than they are currently. That is a master skill. Now, if we can do that and we can learn how to manage capital, that is to deploy cash towards resources, towards hiring, towards different initiatives and marketing opportunities, then we can grow. 3, if we can produce content, because content in this day and age, like you have access right now. This camera, me and Anuj sitting here with this microphone, this whole setup costs less than $10,000. And we have the ability to have this message be seen and heard by tens of millions of people. And it is. Like if you look across our content ecosystem, our content is consistently being seen millions of times every single month for no additional marginal cost here. It's outlandishly outsized returns. So there's no reason as an entrepreneur to not be using it. 4th is to learn how to distribute value at scale. This is operations. This is learning how to take a product, whether that's creating a widget and then selling it to people, or to deliver a service to people like your bookkeeping services, how to deliver that at scale so that it's not just you one-on-one delivering it each and every single time, but recruiting a team, building a system, a process for delivering it. If you can do that, you have all the tools you need. If you can do these 4 things, you have all the tools you need to build a $1 billion business. And even if you don't want to build that, it's everything that you need to build whatever size business of your dreams. I promise. Number 6, everything that I've told you up to this point is complete bullshit. Just recognize that what I'm sharing with you is one man's perspective. The tools that I've noticed in my businesses, in my life, from working with other entrepreneurs, I see the patterns and I share it with you guys. But the truth is that there is no right way. There's simply your way. And your way may or may not work. You have to be able to collate information that you're receiving from people like me or from other people and apply it to your unique situation with your unique context. And so, yes, what I'm telling you right now will maximize your probabilities of success, but it is by no means a guarantee. Life and business, it is far too ephemeral, far too complex for there to be a simple algorithm that you follow. You need to be able to apply the advice that I'm giving you to your unique context. And if you cannot do that, then you will struggle to be successful. And that is why it's so valuable to have a coach or a mentor or others that are, in a similar ecosystem so that they can say, hey, you know what? I took this piece of advice and it didn't quite work, but when I tweaked it in this way, it took off. And having somebody with the perspective to look at your business and say, you have the right idea, but you're not applying it quite correctly. Do this and you will unlock all the growth, right? That's why it's so valuable to have a coach or a mentor or just, a network of entrepreneurs that you can rely on. Number 7, this is very simple, but never forget that the purpose of your business is to create a product that solves a problem for a person. I know it sounds like really simple, but sometimes we forget that the whole purpose of a business is to deliver value to another human. If there is no value that another human is willing to exchange whatever, their money for, then you don't really have a business. And you can't just take advantage of people and get ahead in life and in business. It doesn't work like that. Because if you're not putting out something that actually adds value to people's lives, word will get out and people will stop buying from you. So don't lose sight that the purpose of your business is to create a product that solves a problem for a person. And I recommend that you solve that equation in reverse order. So you don't start with creating a product and then trying to find a problem for it to solve for a person. Instead, you start with a person, you figure out what their problem is, and then you create a product to solve it. If you do that, then you will have instant product market fit because you're guaranteed to know that there is a person out there who has the problem that your product can solve rather than trying to, create a product and then going and trying to find that person that maybe it could help, right? Then in the software world, we say that that is a product in search of a problem. It means it's really cool, it's really interesting, but it doesn't solve a problem anybody actually has. There are so many countless examples of that. So take these 7 epiphanies apply them to your own life. I hope you have your eureka moment. I don't know, maybe one of these just like hit for you and you go, oh shit, that changes everything. Let me know which one that is. Put it in the comments, leave a review. That's super helpful. I appreciate you, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.